I was wrong in doing what I did.
No, no, no! Are you listening?
All right, let's jump into it, because I've wondered to myself, just how far could you take it with Lorne? And I have some theories. First, we're not really going to talk about scams on the internet. He falls for that. Catfish women, we've seen some ridiculous things. But what could I do in person? What could we do to absolutely have a blast with Lorne Armstrong? Well, first, I think the first thing we could do, and after talking about yesterday, this would be perfect. Go to his house, get somebody who's attractive with long blonde hair. Or long brown, because Lorne would rather see what he used to have on his head. Maybe he could relate. There are so many different types of realistic angel wings out there that open on their own, without your hands even moving. There are remote wings. Get a giant spotlight, shine it at his house, maybe even a little fog machine. I mean, this would be worth it for me to spend the money, because it'd only be a couple $100. Well, unless they wanted me to pay the actor. Anyway, moving on. You have a light. You shine it to the sky, maybe at an angle to the sky, so you can see where the light ends. And you have someone slowly emerge out of the woods, through the fog, into the light. Dressed shirtless, no shoes, with some kind of long pants on. You know those Ren Fair pants that kind of tie at the bottom? Make sure they're muscular. They have to look like what their stereotypical angel depiction. Have them come out. If they had contacts, slap those bad boys in, those bright blue contacts that kind of reflect the light a little bit. Have him exit and come towards Lorne's trailer. I don't know when to kick into his redneck accent and not. Come towards Lorne's trailer and have him speak to Lorne in your stereotypical way. Lorne Armstrong. He would probably be like, what? No, it'd have to be Lorne Lynn Armstrong. My name is Ezekiel. Whatever you want to say. You don't want to say Gabriel or Raphael, any of the archangels. You want to give a name he may or may not recognize, because you want that original shock factor. You don't want him to go, oh, I know that name. This is bullcrap. He has to not know the name. This is his pattern. Not knowing the name. Not knowing the background. Not knowing things about the women. Because for Lorne, the less he knows, the better. Because the little tidbits he has, including when he's told facts, he just latches onto one or two. First, you talk to him about he's destined for a greater purpose, but he needs to change his life. He needs to start living the right way. Now, Lorne's going to hear all of that, and he's going to love the fact that he feels special, but he's going to hate the fact that he was asked to change in any way. Of course, it has to be late at night in the early hours of the morning when he's most vulnerable. And we can't have the angel yawn at any time and ruin the illusion. We have to keep it short. He has to walk towards the forest, and we have to be able to get the equipment. It's got to be far enough away where the lights shut off and we can get into the woods as quickly as possible. Obviously, ninja outfits or some kind of camouflage. Just remove it. I'm not really 100% sure how we would accomplish that, but where there's a will, there's a way, especially if we put it out of his view, around the trailer, where the angel walks around and immediately the lights go out. So we take off. I don't know. I think he would believe it. Yeah, you know what? It's out of view. The light is shining to the sky or shining forward. The angel walks out of it with fog. I know Lorne. We all know Lorne. He would immediately go, oh my gosh. Because if it looks real enough, he's believing it. If he's told he's special, he's going to believe it. However, if you told him, Lorne, you have to quit smoking. I need you to live longer. Give him a fake time of death. I need you to live longer than 58, Lorne. If you do not quit smoking, you die at 58. he'd probably be like, "What? Yeah, well, I gotta smoke, And you could be wrong. I mean, he'd argue with an angel of the Lord and say, you could be wrong. Hey, nobody's death is guaranteed. I remember that from the Bible. Lorne, I am telling you, as a holy angel of the Lord, you will die by the age of 58 if you do not quit smoking. You must stop talking to strange women, Lorne. It's a sin. You have to stop cursing. You have to stop getting so angry. Yeah, no, none of that's going to happen. So have fun with your beach friends. Have fun with your dates. Don't give a fuck. I truly believe that. I absolutely believe that he would believe. That's just my opinion. Now, the second thing we would have to hit him up with, and this would be where we have to be convincing as crap. Aliens. It would have to be a high quality, like, astronaut suit where you don't necessarily take the helmet off or whatever. He can't see through the helmet. Same thing, maybe the light, maybe a couple red, green, blue lights that would be visible but not prominent. I have some very technical friends that could build some kind of communicator. Maybe a voice modulator. I mean, you've seen them. You can just attach them. They have them in, like, Halloween masks now. Get some kind of voice modulator. You can't make it a woman because he'd be like, don't come inside. I mean, I know the galaxy is at stake. Come up to him and ask him a reason. Because, Lorne, Hallmark moment, saw it on TV. You're amazing. You're awesome. Tell me one reason the human race should be spared, and I'll leave right now, and you'll never see us again. Well, hold on now. Come on inside. He would probably say, love. See, love. What is love, Lorne? Yeah, not so much. He'd never be able to do it. This would be pretty far-fetched. I think we could pull it off, though. Leave in a similar manner. I mean, I don't know. Shine the light in the sky. Quickly turn it off. Yon. Anyway, do that. And hey, Roy, guess what? I just saw an angel of the Lord. Hey, Roy, guess what? And he would argue with Roy. See, Lorne wants to be right. So when Roy tells him, you did not see an angel, Lorne's going to argue. And that's when you have him. When you get him to the point he's going to argue that something is real, he's not going to give it up. He's not. And he's just going to push it. And the more people tell him it didn't happen, the more he's going to argue. So we got him there. Something else we could easily do. Have a senator in a nice suit, your typical suit that he would see because he always watches the news. That's where his life is, the news. 9-year-old girl singing the national anthem. Have a senator shows up at the house, says his car broke down. Somebody's coming to fix it, but he was wondering if he could just have a place to sit before they pick him up. Start talking to Lorne about some problems that have been on the news, getting his opinion. You look like a smart guy. You sound like a smart guy. I've got to make some decisions, and I'm not sure really which way to go, one way or the other. Now, Lorne's going to initially play coy. I don't know about that. Please say it again. Please say it again. I don't know about that. Nobody's ever told you you're smart all the time. All the time. No, I'm so far from stupid. But you can convince him to sit there and babble on about the dumbest stuff. I'd love to hear his thoughts on gay marriage, a bunch of craziness that's going on in the world right now, outside of the United States. Ask him about Ukraine and whatever else. Get him to talk about terrorist groups, because sooner or later he's going into a racist tirade. We know this. We know his homophobia is just going to take over and he's going to become a monster. Now, for the first couple of conversations, you'll be able to give counterpoints that you've prepared, that you already know the answers to. And Lorne's going to be like, well, yeah, I could see that. But the longer you talk, the more he's going to push back on other things. You haven't taken one thing that I've said seriously. Why are you even asking me if you've already got it? He's going to get familiar quick and he's going to be arguing, and he's going to, you know as well as I do, get frustrated because his word isn't law. But then again, this is Lorne. He may change the subject immediately to the catfish women, to NBC. Maybe you could help me. You're a senator. Maybe you could help me get off NBC. Now I know there are federal laws. You could just simply say I'm a prominent politician, don't really want to get into it. That way you could skirt around it, you know. Prominent politician, I don't really want to get into it, but I've got some hard decisions to make. And you're a citizen in Maine. Well, where were you headed? Oh, I was told this was a shortcut to get to whatever city's close by. Oh yeah. Hey, you should meet my mom. Yeah, no, Lorne, that's not going to happen. I'm not meeting your mom. But hit him with the whole politician thing. Get him talking, and then just watch the homophobic racists just go mad, go mental. Especially if the prominent politician hints that he is as well. This is the one I want, right here. This is the one I want, okay? Somebody to show up at his house and say they're from the correctional institution that he was at. They know his probation and parole officer because this dude can't keep his mouth shut. Can't keep his mouth shut at all. So they would say something to the extent of, we need to figure, Lorne, we're going to figure out what it was that you didn't like about the stay there, what we can improve on, and we need to tell us about your stay there, tell us about what happened. And just shut up and let this man talk. We would get all the information we ever need. If he started yapping about some kind of like roommate or cellmate that died, we skip over that. Yeah, Lorne, we've got information that there was a man who passed away. We know that probably affected you. Let's talk about what happened after that. All right, Lorne, let's talk about, did you go to any classes? Because we're showing a record here that you were in a program, or at least scheduled to be in a program. We don't know if they actually did it. I apologize. I'm the new administrative staff executive, and some of the records weren't upkept, which is why we're out here, Lorne. This is why I'm out here. It would be very helpful if we could find out about your experience so that no one else has anything negative that happened to you. Really get him to open up. Get him to just start blabbing, and let's find out what really happened. Ease into, were you ever assaulted? Did anybody ever try to jump you? Tell him this is extremely important. Do you understand? This is extremely important. It's confidential. We basically treat these as a poll. We take the results. We don't talk about specifics. We don't use names in our reports, but we do need information. We need to know how bad it was. Now, Lorne, he's probably going to start talking about food, right? He's going to start talking about how the food was, how the guards were. But I think after a while, you could suck him in. Gross. You could suck him in and get him yapping about what actually happened. He starts going into those side stories, get him back on track. A lot of us have wondered what happened. We've reached out to people. You can find records. I think the community as a whole has what the hell, man? When you talk about Lorne, that's gross. I think a lot of us in the community, I think the community as a whole has reached out and tried to find some kind of information about it. Tried Freedom of Information Acts about any of the reports Lorne filed in prison. Some states you can get that information. Some states you can say that you're doing some kind of report or study and you can get that kind of information. But anyway, you get Lorne talking about it. You see how far you can get him to take it. Here's a way you can guarantee that you are going to get information. You talk to Roy first, but you don't ask him all of the questions. You ask him questions that sound like Roy was going to give you a bunch of intimate details, because Lorne's going to want to gaslight them. He's going to want to go against what Roy said. He's going to be concerned that his story didn't get out, that the real story, information about him, was not given the correct way. So I think he's going to start answering those questions, and you can easily dig into it. Ask him about, this is what I want to know. Get Lorne talking about every second from the moment he got in his truck to the moment he arrived at the Sting House. What he was thinking during the interview. The exact moment. Because he says he can't remember, but yet he can go, well, 20 years ago, Uncle John, he came over and he took my cigarette. I mean, he remembers everything. We talked about his memory is based on emotion, and he's also emotion over facts. I mean, that's just your feelings over facts. Ask him, when they picked you up and put you in the squad car, what happened? And Lorne, we want to know if they made you cry. You understand? This is important because we're trying to put together a class action lawsuit. And we want to hear about all of the bad things that they did. Just dress in a suit, man. The dude's automatically have a fake business card. He's going to go for it. Ask him about every sort of detail, everything that happened. He's just going to blab. He thinks, finally, we're going to shut these people down. You know what's been said on the internet. You could even tell him, we did research on the internet, Lorne. We found out about all of these catfish, and we're putting them in there because you're not the only one that's been catfished. Just hit him with all of this stuff that he wants to hear, and you're going to find out everything. What happened when you got to the sheriff's department? Get down, sheriff's department. Talk about how rough the sheriffs handled him and how he's paraded in front of the cameras. And then from there, you can go into what happened after you left the interrogation room, on the way to prison, what he was thinking, was he scared? I mean, you could find out all of this stuff. All you have to do is tell him you're a lawyer, there's a class action lawsuit, and you are finding out everything you ever wanted to know about this man. The chance to spin a good story. That's all Lorne needs. He craves the spotlight. Even tell him. I mean, think about this. I want you to tell him right now. No! Even tell him. Lorne, we understand that your singing career was interrupted because of this. That's even more trouble for them. Taking your songs, sharing them on the internet, possibly stealing money from you, stealing opportunities. You wrote a book, they read it online. Use things that he's already angry about, and then get him to open up other things that made him really angry. I still think the lawyer idea, that would definitely work. And I think the prison survey would work, but you'd have to talk to him longer. I think the spaceman might work. You'd have to be convincing because it would make one hell of a story to tell his catfish. And all he would need is for his catfish to say, what? I see reports about that all over the place. And then Lorne's going to be like, oh, I'm special. Then you hit him with the angel. I think he would believe it. If it was realistic enough, I think he would believe it. I think he would. Especially if the catfish women told him, Lorne, that's not something you need to be telling people. That's something special to you. You were visited. People are visited all the time. They just don't talk about it. I'm glad you told me, but you shouldn't be telling everybody because you don't want them to know. I mean, you could even do a follow-up with that angel. You'd have to do it in a different way, though. Show up without the wings. Show up in some kind of suit. Lorne associates suits with power. He's been in and out of the legal system for so long. That's how he sees it. So it's, in my opinion, you could show up in a suit and say, I chose to come here in this form because during the day, I'm not exactly inconspicuous. Hey, how you doing? I'm Ezekiel. Hey, because the next thing you know, I'm going to be followed around being asked for miracles. I believe this could happen. I do. I don't know what you think, but I'm pretty sure he would fall for it. Finally, Lorne's vanity. My favorite sin. It is not a stretch because we saw what happened with Paul. It's not a stretch that they could say, well, we've got this reality show. We're talking about filming. It's called Sex with the Stars. We get people. I know, Lorne, with your past. We know. We've been working with probation and parole. I'd appreciate if you do not speak with them about it because you may sink this. We don't want you talking to them. This is something we'll handle. We're talking about Sex with the Stars. Now, this is going to be an ongoing conversation because we got to know about you. We already know about your charge. Tell him there's going to be two different things. And it's a big payday, but for right now, we just need primary information. Then just start spouting a couple more NBC guys. Tell him there's a cult following. He would go into the Church of God and everything. Tell him there's a cult following for these people. Jeff Stacy was number one. No offense, Lorne, but he's passed on now. And then you could talk about other people who passed on. There are a group of people who will pay big money to see. They have followed To Catch a Predator. They even tried to get Chris Hansen, but he turned it down. Just go into all of this and tell him what a big deal it is. And I want you to tell him what a big deal it is. Tell him this is something you can't talk about with probation and parole until they get it worked out. Because technically Lorne is not supposed to know, but in the television business, we don't have time for games. You know, money, if you pause on something, that's money lost. So we need to get this moving. We don't need you to sign anything. We don't need you to give us money. We don't need anything from you except information. Because when we do our montage package on you, we're going to talk, and we want things that are going to make you sympathetic. We know about the catfish one. Tell us some other things in your life that happened. Tell us some other things that occurred that were really difficult for you. Things that really challenged you and pushed you. Were you ever beaten? Were you ever this? Were you ever that? And yes, I know this is a dick move, but dick move, Banner. I know this is a dick move, but it would work. These are all ways you could get information out of Lorne Armstrong. Make up a story about two girls who will not shut up because they call you the sweetheart because of how nice you were. And apparently there's the real Casey Morrow said on the show that she didn't feel threatened by you. She felt welcomed. And these women, they want this, but they don't want to feel like they're with the criminal. And Lorne, you don't act like a criminal. So you just go through this whole rigmarole and you tell him, you tell him that this is real, that there's a chance he could be having sex on screen with two women. They just have to get it past probation and parole. And they're working on getting him off lifetime supervision because it's very important. If this is successful, they want to run a second season with different girls. I don't think it would take much. I really don't. I don't know about you guys, but I think all of these scenarios would work. Just take a little bit of planning, and our guy's going to fall for them all. I love you guys. I'll see you in the next one.